Hi, Ellen. Good evening. Can you hear me? Am I audible? Could you please respond in the chat box? Thanks, Ellen. Thank you so much for your response. We'll wait for another a minute so that we can start with the session. Hi, Nathan. Good evening. Hi, all. Hope you are able to hear me. My voice is audible for you guys. And you can just respond in the chat box saying, thanks, Jacob. Thanks, Fu. Thanks, Lee. Okay, we'll start with the session. Yesterday, we were looking into HTML and CSS, where HTML is hypertext markup language. On the screen where you can see, this is a HTML file where you have a document type. The first line, line number 1, is telling you about a doc type HTML. That means it is declaring the document what you are using is HTML. Then coming back to the tag, what you write the tag, how do you declare the tag within the angular brackets? Whatever you mention within the angular bracket is referred to as tag in this. So in this markup language, we are informing the browser to display what we are writing. So you can ask me, all the other programs all deal with the compilation and interpretation, but HTML, CSS, JavaScript are the front-end technologies, or I can say languages, programming languages that deals with browsers. These browsers uses these languages to understand and display what you want. We can also make use of localhost by running the live server. I'll show you how you run the live server using a software. And here I'm using a software, Visual Studio Code, which is very useful for us to deploy some of the packages. And also Whenever we run all the programs, all the folders, all the image files which is required to display in our browser, it's an example we have done with a website, and it has been designed with some photos, videos, links, everything. What if in case the developed laptop is going to crash? So you may lose all the files. Even though you have a backup, you're supposed to have a backup in a cloud. So we have an opportunity to save our file, whatever we have built, the complete folder which will be saved can be deployed on GitHub account. Hence, we have a portfolio designed, or I can say creating a repository on GitHub that will every time sync with the email ID which you have registered and the email ID given to this software tool. Whenever you have a say changes, you commit that and it will get reflect, and it is virtually you can just download the file and you can make it public or private. So yesterday we have seen this, creating HTML files and making some coloring using CSS. So today we'll look into the JavaScript and MongoDB. In today's world, every information is shared through a web application or any mobile application. If I want to communicate some information, I'll be communicating through WhatsApp or through an email or through my company website. The information will be communicated frequently. Hence, JavaScript is one of the hot cake in the global market, which is treated to develop front-end technologies. The search engines, or I may call it as browsers, what we have Firefox, Chrome, these uses SpiderMonkey and version 8 respectively. When it comes to Firefox, JavaScript by name SpiderMonkey is used. We will least bother about what the name is all about, why the name is all about. We just need to concentrate on the JavaScript, how they have come up with the designing, and what is the importance of JavaScript, and how you initialize or write a programming language in JavaScript, which is comparatively different when compared to the other programming languages. And this JavaScript is used only to make browsers to understand what creative work you have done to display the information in colorful manner. So when we talk about programming language, that is JavaScript, which is a hotcake in a global market, where all the companies are developing their web applications, mobile applications, even including real-time network applications, chats, video so command line tools, and also it is very powerful in developing some games. So the companies like Netflix, Walmart, they are using this JavaScript, different versions, rather I can say, is used to develop their applications. And don't think that this JavaScript is restricted to only browsers. No, we have advanced frameworks like React, Express, Node, Angular, what we use for developing many applications. Either it can be web application or desktop application. Hence, this programming language is powerful and important. Now we just need to understand how and what are the different ways of JavaScript that can be synced or linked with HTML. So from the screen, you can see I'm using a tool, software tool, that is Visual Studio Code, and I've come up with some folders already for you to explain the JavaScript. So here we'll try to understand the basics and we'll move on to the advanced to know what JavaScript is all about. So when I say there are three ways of JavaScript to initialize, I've written the code, and this code is by default what we are getting when I'll just show you how to write this program. I have a HTML. This extension gives me all in ready in advance. So when I type HTML, and this is a boilerplate, so I'll just go to this extension and I'll just give boilerplate. So once you give boilerplate, you can just click on HTML and need to install if it is not installed. You can see I've already installed, and it is showing me disable and uninstall. So when I come back to the folder which I have created to show you, already there with the files which works on the JavaScript. So till here it has been provided by boilerplate, and this is the code which I have written to show you JavaScript. I have used a button. When it is clicked, I want to alert that I am in line JavaScript. This is a method which you are using to alert, and you are telling a browser to give an alert. Hope you have seen this sometimes when you are using a browser where there will be a pop-up or alert to make the extension allow or block. And those alerts are given in the middle by this JavaScript. So when you click this button, you will be getting an alert. And once I click this, click me to see the external, I have a method. So this on click is something doing a action. What happens I need to do when I click this button? It informs that you are supposed to go to the call method. Now, where is this call method defined? It has been defined somewhere else in the JavaScript file where we created the function. Here, I've created a file h.js. I've created the function and I'm calling this. I will tell you how to create a function. Before that, try to understand that I've written something and I've given the print statements. So you can just see console.log. It is going to log in that particular browser with this information. So when I go to this three ways, the one method is, that is, it is getting alert, which is included in a line particularly. That is a type of JavaScript which is included in a particular line. And this is some external, what we have defined external file. In this external file, we have defined whatever we want. And this is a way, one of the way to define JavaScript with the dot extension of .js. And when I click on that button, it will go to the particular file and it displays whatever we have written. Now there is one more way where you can write the script. There is a tag in HTML which is understood by the browser. Whatever you write in the middle is referred to the JavaScript code. So same thing I've written console.log. Hello, I'm in the same page which is referred as internal. So we have three ways. One is inline, one is external, the other one is internal. So to perform this external, you are supposed to mention this particular HTML file where it has to go. So I've defined this script to go to the source. SRC is nothing but source. It needs to go to this file h.js and it will go and search for the same. Now let me take this copy of path and I'll just show you how it works. Hope you are able to see the screen. Could you please confirm on the chat box whether you are able to see the screen? I request you all to confirm whether you are able to see the screen. So this is the page where I've copied the path and three ways of js.html. So I've used this particular file and I've copied this path and I went to the browser and then paste this. Just simply paste and then hit enter. You will be finding two buttons. Once I click this click me, you will be getting an alert. This page says that it is an alert. I'm inline JS. And this button is automatically given. If you press this, it will go. So first, when I click me, you will be getting an inline page. Okay. Now next, click me to see external. I've told you whenever we click this button, it will refer for the external JavaScript file and define whatever we have included the code inside the JavaScript file. So once I click this, you are not able to see anything. Okay, what you will do? What you will do for this? So for this, you can just right click on the browser and ask the browser to inspect. So whenever you define some JavaScript file, it will go and sit in this console. You can see whenever I click me to see external, whatever there in the JavaScript file, it will come and sit in the console. Again, I'll show you. You can just right click on the page wherever you are sufficient. You can just click on inspect. It will take directly to the elements. You can just place the cursor or on all the things. You can see when I am placing the cursor on this alert, I am in line JS, click me. You can see that on the other side of the page, upside of the page, you can see that there is highlighted. It has been highlighted. When I take the cursor, click me to see external, it is showing the other button. So when I click on the second one, you can see the output. I am an external JavaScript. So whatever program, whatever the code that you are writing, you can see onto the console of the browser, JavaScript. Okay, so let me go to the code and make some changes here in the code. So we have variable fname equals to Maria. So I'll just say console.log of fname. Okay, so I've defined this variable which is of type string. And it is not necessary to define that it is a particularly string. Whatever you write inside this particular double quotes, it is referred to be as a string. You can see whenever I place a cursor on the variable name, it defines what is the type of that. And it is going to define that. So let me save this and go back to the browser and refresh this. You can see, click me, you will be getting an alert, and click me to see the external. You can see Maria is getting displayed and I am in external JavaScript. And you can also see one more line that you are getting, hello, I am in page JavaScript. Why is that? You are getting that just because you have written within the script tag. This is what it is getting displayed by default without any click of the button. So this is the basic of JavaScript, or I can say there are three ways of defining the JavaScript. Now when I go to the basic, what it will do, what JavaScript will do, it will override the content. Let me run this and tell you. So here I've defined in the body, I've defined the paragraph. This is P for paragraph, and I've given ID as demo, and it displays JavaScript can change the HTML content. How does it do? So we have a button of type button. On click, you have a document.getElement by ID demo dot inner HTML. That means inside the HTML, you are supposed to change as hello JavaScript. And this is a button, click me. I'll copy this path and I'll go to the browser and then I'll paste this, enter. Here you can see JavaScript can change the HTML content. When I go to the code, you can see that it is getting displayed for the 13th line. Once I click this button, what will happen? You can see, click that, your JavaScript is doing or changing the content. Hello JavaScript, when you click the button. So this is one of the method where you are using document.getElement by ID. So it search for the demo ID which we have defined here, and it will replace this particular string. That is what it is doing. So on click, what should be done is defined here, and the button is specified with the name. So this is one of the method. Let me show you one more example by using JavaScript. What can JavaScript do? Yes, we have seen that it can change the HTML attribute values, and it can change the value of source with an image. We have two buttons. One is turn on the light and one more is turn off the light. When I click on turn on the light, the bulb should get turned on. How will it do? I've turned on. Turn off the light. I clicked on, it turned off. How do you do this? Let me go back to the code and try to understand. This is all simple things what we have defined. You can see this is all simple. H2 tag I've given, that is heading tag, and it says that what JavaScript is doing, it's a content displaying on the browser, and in the paragraph JavaScript can change HTML attribute. In this case, JavaScript changes the value of the source attribute of the image. Now we have two buttons. The one button is for on, that is bulb on. The second button is for bulb off, turn off the light. So we have written on click. After clicking the button, what it should do? It should go for the ID, my image, where you have specified the ID, and it needs to display what is mentioned in that particular ID. And once you click on that particular button, it needs to go to that particular image and display the same with bulbon.gif. I have saved a bulb on GIF. These are the images, or I can say GIF file, which I have downloaded and saved it. You can see this. This is off and this is on. So I want to display when I click on the button turn on the light with this GIF file. So I'll go to the bulb.html and then I mention that ID with the source file of for the turn off, and for the turn on you can just specify here. Initially the bulb was turn off. You can just specify the peak of bulb on. If you can save this, whenever I go to the browser and then refresh it, you can see the bulb already on. Usually why we have the image with the bulb off, because before entering the room or while leaving the room we'll turn off everything to save the electricity. That is the intention we have given the code with bulb off. Hence it was taking the image. Hope it is clear till here. Hope it is fine, guys. Screen is visible properly and my voice is clear for you. Could you please respond in the chat so that I can move further? Thank you so much, Fu. So here in this, if I change this, it was off. Now click on turn on the light. An image will come and sit in the place. Turn off the light. The same image, the other image will come and sit in the place. But we are not identifying it. We felt that you are turning on and turning off. So this is what we have done using basic JavaScript. And when we go to the next file, introduction file, we have data types that can be defined. When you are writing custom.html, you are supposed to make use of the tag script in defining whatever you want. Let me take this piece of code, copy, and create a one more file, new file, saying custom.js. You can feel the difference between whenever you create HTML file and JavaScript file. So you can see red color with S, that is not S, it is 5. It is a version of HTML and it looks in red color. JavaScript, yellow color with saying JS. So when I copy here, you can see the variable is created, the variable camera. So let me control this. You can see, I'll save this and I hope you can see the screen now. It is good to have a double screen. So where you can see the code, whatever I'm changing, it will get reflect to the code. So here I've defined the var camera and commented all the other lines. And I'll just take this path, copy the path and give it on to the right side. And it is getting displayed with the version. And you can see, go and control and see that So in HTML, under HTML, we have defined with the script where camera, and we have defined some class. I'll explain you later. So when you define this, I'll just define where some other variable. I'll just mention it as variable and I'll save this. You go and refresh it. If you are not able to find, you can just click on inspect. Click on inspect. You'll be getting this. If you find this, you can just go down and then see what you are getting. When you are defining some variable camera, it is working as a variable and you are defining the class mobile with the constructor. So this dot camera, this dot speaker. So you have a camera and the speaker inside the class that you are calling for the data. So here I have DGG, which is a string. Which is a string. This is a string and this is a object. Data is an object where you have find out those values. You can see here the object which you can easily identify what objects you have used. So under this data, you have console.log of data where number is equal to new string hello console.log of number. So you just need to identify what is that number and it is giving hello string HELLO and the length is 5. So this is how you define something when it comes to JavaScript. So these are some of the basic that we have seen with respect to JavaScript. We also have one more that is I'll just show you one game where you have a random which is a game that is helping you to open folder. Okay. Okay, I've saved somewhere. Okay, fine. That's okay. So you can just go to that inspect, or you can say view page source. So here I've written the document type HTML body JavaScript. So this is an HTML file. I'll just copy this and I'll go here, and inside this JavaScript I'll create a new file. You can see have create a new file. You can see new file and new folder is by default you have a button. So once you click on this particular folder, you can just click on file. So this is a random .html. So I'm creating an HTML file. I'm just copying this and I'll be saving this. So I'll just copy this path. You can see that you are able to get the path. So here what I'm using, I'll be writing the demo, that is ID within the paragraph, what you are supposed to do within that. and button on click, you are saying that you are supposed to go to rand function. Where is it? It is inside, that is internal, I have defined. So this function rand, what it does, it comes here and it specifies the value of x. Now how does it specifies with the value of x? We have some random number generated within 10, that is from 0 to 9. Why we are specifying 0 to 9? Even random number 0 is also there. Hence 0 into 10 is 0 and plus 1. When you define plus 1, you are just removing this plus 1 and it starts from 0 to 10. So since I don't want the 0 number, I have specified as plus 1. So it gets the particular x value and sits in the demo whenever you click the button. So this is what, when I highlight this demo, you can see it will get highlighted in the paragraph. Now what happens if I click the demo, click me button? You can see each time when I click, you are getting a number. So you are getting a random number within 10. So if I change this as 5, so you are getting the number within 5. I have not saved this. See, 4, 3, 3, 5, 4, 5, 2, 1, 5. It is not moving beyond 5. So we can just make use of this math.floor, math.random, that is inbuilt methods, which is generating the random number and it is getting multiplied or using within the number 5 and it is giving me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it, randomly generated. So this is what we are supposed to use when it comes to script. So I'll just close this, everything. This is what I've just shown you. And this we have done, this we have seen. Now this we have seen. So this is what JavaScript is all about, telling we have furthermore, but I have reduced because of time constraints. I made this reduction. So we have some more to identify how you declare the variables, how you write the function. And there was a person by Ryan Dahl, R-Y-A-N-D-H-A-L-L, Ryan Dahl, who took the JavaScript from Chrome. Now, can I get the answer? What is the version that taken by Ryan Dahl? The version of Google Chrome, which is V8. So V8 is a version of JavaScript in Google Chrome and it is embedded on C++ program and it was referred to as Node. That is a framework which is used frequently to develop an application. So we also can understand the JavaScript, which has been embedded with the other languages, come up with the new frameworks, what we have, Node, React, Express, Angular. Hence, we call this as MERN stack. So I'll just take a notepad and I can just new one. So here we have Node.js, Node.js, React.js, Express.js. All these are from embedding one of the other languages. And Angular.js. So we have these many frameworks which works on JavaScript and come up with the new ideas in developing the applications, which we always refer to as MERN stack as a full stack developer. So in the global market, full stack developer have a demand rather than front-end technology developer or back-end technology developer. When I say MERN stack, it is all with respect to complete one. So M here refers to MongoDB. E refers to Express.js. R here refers to React.js. N here refers to Node.js. So this completely required to develop some application where we always refer to those are full stack developer. When you know these concepts, you'll be easily identified you as a full stack developer. And we do have a average salary of $72,000 in US for a full stack web developer. Now, why I'm saying this web developer in the sense, initially you will be treated as web developer, later you will move on to the development of different applications, mobile applications, by using these technologies, Express, React, Node, Angular, and so on. You also have one more, that is mean stack. So when I say mean stack, it is all about with respect to Angular, Express, Node, and MongoDB. When I say about MERN stack, it is all about React, Express, Node, and MongoDB. So these are the most important, which is recent trends that is required to move on for full stack web developer. On an average, you will be getting $72,000 per year dollars in US for a full stack developer. So now we are going to understand what is this MongoDB, why it is so required, what is the use of this MongoDB. We have understood that these are the front-end technologies, but who is maintaining or storing the data? We do require some of them to store the data. So this MongoDB is not only SQL that we always in short referred as NoSQL. I hope you can easily identify that MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQL. So these are all structured query language, but this is not only structured query language. So this non-structured data, it is handled by MongoDB. So you have images, you have videos, you have different text formats, you have speech recognition, you have image classifications. You also have one more tool like Mongoose. This is a tool which is very useful in reading the image, which is helping us to know the things. Now I'll show you how to work with MongoDB, install in your laptop or work with your system. So let me show you that with the command prompt, or I can say easily with the window. So when I give MongoDB in the internet, you can just find a MongoDB application data platform. So you can just click on this, you directly get into the resources or the products that you are available with MongoDB. And it is of open source and free of available. You have all the documents to deploy. You can easily download, where you can just directly go to resources, or you can just directly go to the products When you go to the products, you just directly go to the community server. You can just download the community version because rest of all are not related to your system. And this MongoDB will help you creation of Compass, MongoDB Compass, which is helping you to come up with some frameworks, which is helping you to create a API instead of writing the code. Hence, I've downloaded and it is all about some MB. You can just select your platform, either your Mac, Windows, or any other platform. You can just download it and install it. Once you install, you will be getting it installed in a particular path. I'll show you the path which I've downloaded and installed. In program files, if you go, you'll be having a MongoDB folder. Just click on that particular and get inside the server 5.0 and get inside the bin, and you find MongoD, an application file, and Bongo as a executable file. These two files are required to execute your database. So we do have some difference between the traditional method and the NoSQL method. When I talk about RDBMS, that is MySQL, we have something which is referred as table, rows, and database. So here in this NoSQL, we call it as document and collection and fields. So the terms are different when it compared to RDBMS and NoSQL. Hence, we'll refer in a different format. So after installing this, you can just go back to command prompt and then I'll just execute command prompt using run as administrator. You can save this. You can copy this particular path and go to this particular path. And if I click on MongoDB, so you are supposed to mention the path for database, what you are supposed to create. And you are supposed to make a path file. So I've already made a path for the file. That is, you can see here inside you have DB. So after mentioning that a folder has been created to store the data or the files, you just need to specify the path where it goes, where it needs to go and sit. So why I'm talking about MongoDB is because it stores the data as a collection of documents, and these documents contains a JavaScript objects, which is referred as JSON file. Hope you have come across this JSON file and you have been popular in this JavaScript community where MongoDB is especially used because it is highly scalable, flexible, fast, and you need not to initialize anything apart from data type, anything as a variable of type. We have seen so far in JavaScript, like the same it will be where you will also have a compass. I'll show you that to create the database. That is the flexibility of the framework. And here I can just give this .exe space double dash db path which you already mentioned. I just need to mention only the Mongo and execute. So once you install and just give a Mongo, you will be redirected to Mongo shell version. So it took time to come so long time to get up with this shell 5.0.6. I can see thus by giving what all the database that you have, use mydb. So before that, I'll give a command show database plural, S is plural. So here I don't have any database that has been created. I'll just mention by default admin config local has been created. I'll just create a database. Use mydb. I can just give a database name. Now if you show DBs, now if you list this DB, you can see mydb has been created. And you can also drop from drop database, and it is said okay. When you type DB, you still have. When you say show DBs, you'll not have. So you can create like this by using various commands you have, by using shell script or shell command prompt this way. So I'll just show you one more where after initializing or installing this, you will be getting a MongoDB compass. So this is a graphical tool. Instead of going and typing all the commands, it is always good to have a connection between the command prompt and create the database. You can identify there is a admin config local, what we have seen in the command prompt, like the same we have here. You can just directly create a database by clicking on create database. You can create a database by your name, mydb, and the collection. What do you mean by collection? It refers to the table name. The table name as employee details. You can just create a database. Here you can see it has been created with the collections of 1, indexes of 1. You can just click on this and you can just create a tab. You can create as much as a table or a collection, what we call it in MongoDB, as per your requirement. So when I click on this particular table, I can add the field, or you can just call the fields, call the data, import the data. Now I'll just show you how it looks. Here I'll open the flower press. And here employee underscore ID as 101 and comma and employee name. I'm not defining the type of that particular variable, John, comma, employee salary as 10,000. I can just go ahead and remove this and I've closed. Okay, it is just giving this. I'll do one thing. I'll just make use of Notepad and I'll save this. First, I'll save this on the desktop and I'll import the data. You can see that the files are in the format of JSON or CSV. And we are supposed to save the file in JSON or CSV. You can see we have saved in the text document and it will not work. So file, save as, all files, first dot JSON. So save and it will get saved in JSON. You can see JSON source file. So we can just add that particular file. Select a file, go to desktop, we'll see first and then import unexpected JSON position to file. Okay, so there is end of line close. So this is how it is not getting filtered and the options are not coming just because I've given the different versions of installed MongoDB Compose, which is not working with this local host. Okay, it is not getting added. So you can just export the queries. So like this, we need to extract some of the things in MongoDB. So you can just work with this JSON file and then can perform the operations by connecting it to JavaScript. So we do have something else apart from this with respect to MongoDB. So where we can all discuss that in the course, what we have. And we are about to start with the full stack web developer course in the next coming month, where you will be learning all this React, Node, Express, JavaScript, TypeScript, HTML, CSS in depth. And you will be landing up with projects and some of the assignments as well. So you can be in touch with 360 DGTMG for the course. Because of time constraints, we have reduced to understand the concepts and we were more quick to understand some of the front end and back end. Some few open source that we have seen And you can also get an update by following our web Facebook page, LinkedIn page, and YouTube channel. You can have the links in the chat box, which is made highlighted and posted by a group member. You can find that useful information, and hope it is good session where you got some idea how the front end and back end will work in coming up with some applications. And also I would like to mention the participants or the attendees, those who are attending, they can mark their attendance here. You can click on the link which has been highlighted above the chat box to mark your attendance, and please confirm over the chat box once you are done with attendance marking. And also we would love to hear from you. If you like the session, you can just write us a review on the Facebook. You can just find the link for the same in the chat box by our team member. Senthil, thank you so much for highlighting the links. And if you have any queries to discuss, you can just free to mention the same in the chat box so that I can answer you with my knowledge. Ellen, Fu, Nathan, do you have any doubts? You can just mention in the chat box. If you are able to hear me, could you please respond in the chat box? Thank you so much, Fu, for your response. Hope it helped you a lot with the session. At least you gain an idea how it looks, how it works. Because of time constraints, we can't learn everything. So there is a other topic, different other topics where we can also learn if it is a full-time course. We have a pretty interesting topic that we can learn. Thank you so much, Fu, and thank you so much, Alin. If you don't have anything to discuss and clarify, we can just wind up the session. Yes, Fu, we are planning to have a session on FSWD. There are few requirements, so we'll plan and we'll let you know once it is finalized. Hope I answered your question. Thank you, Fu. Anything else? Ellen, Fu, Nathan? Okay, fine. We are just winding up the session. Have a great care and take care of your rest of the time. Stay safe, Ellen and Fu.